my fellow comic book collectors. It's Allan, the Comic Collector Geek,
Alan,
joined with
Alan,
Mark
Alan,
from Suddenly
Alan.
Comics.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop. So I have a request from one
Yeah.
of our viewers. So the viewer, I think he's called Son of Crom,
Mhm.
and he watches your channel, he watches my channel.
Oh yes, I know Chrome. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so he left a comment.
What's his request?
His request was, he said, you ought to do the first half at some point because Alan gets all the good ones. So I said, yeah, I agree. I think I should do the first five for a change. So
Oh, I was actually always trying to be nice to you because I'd give you the bigger ones,
so
and then like you'd get the bigger books.
so as a review,
So okay, if you want to go first,
I'm going to go first as a review just for this occasion for a viewer request. So
viewer request,
hi
switch the
comic
word.
book fans and welcome to another Suddenly Comics video. It's a Monday night. It's the price variance, and I'm here with everybody's favorite Canadian, Alan. And as you've just been watching, we're going to do Switcheroo this week, and I'm going to do the first five comics on the list, and Alan is going to do the second five. So here we go. I'm going to share a screen, and here we go. We're off. So first comic is
We're off.
Lobo number 2. Now this is not the Lobo
Lower number two.
everybody thinks of. This is the first Lobo.
Hmm.
Was he the first black?
This is about a year prior to. Yeah, I was just gonna say this is a year prior to the Black Panther, the
Right.
first black superhero.
Yes, first.
Black, not superhero, but black character to have its own title.
Yes, first African American character to headline his own title. Last issue. So only ran for two
Yeah,
issues.
it only lasted 2 issues. I mean, but that was because people are being jerks and they wouldn't let this go on the newsstands and stuff. So
Quite like the
it
cover.
just America wasn't ready for it at the time, I guess.
It wasn't so ready for
They just had to wait one more year.
Americans defeating white men. There we go. Give up, Lobo. You'll never beat the King of the West. Very
Hmm.
nice. Have you
And
got
the
this,
reason
Alan?
actually there was both issues were actually on sale. Yep, I do. I have a raw copy of 1 and 2. Um, the interesting thing about this is both 1 and 2 were sold this week. I put number 2 on because we've had number 1 on the list before.
We have had number 1. Yeah.
And I actually put number 2 is actually harder to find than number 1. Like number 1 is the bigger key, obviously, because
Yeah.
it's but number 2 is actually quite difficult to find. Lower print run, and just one of those books that's really hard to find.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, if we look at
I
these,
know many people that collect these kind of.
there are only how many are on the census? There's only 83 on the census.
Yeah, yeah, really rare. Check number
However,
one in comparison, just quickly.
you want to look at number 1?
Yeah, just comparative, like the census count.
There's 256, so there's nearly
See what
three
I'm
times
saying?
as many.
Yeah, and this is one of those books you would get graded if you have it, right? Because it's even in a 4, it has some value.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back
It's
to
come down in price. Oh well, that's it. Hang on.
well, relative price.
Yeah. So the last time it sold was in 2018 for $160, and it just sold again for $160. So it's
So it's
flat
flat,
price
but
over the last 6 years.
yeah. Um Yeah, if we didn't have rapid inflation, this book would be about normal. Um, so yeah, so it's it's hard to say. It's hard to say about it, but I think somebody got a bit of a steal on this. I would have expected this one to go for a little bit more, maybe like
Yeah,
$200. Would have been kind of more of a fair price.
I
It
agree.
is, as I said, it's a hard book to find.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that is a good price. And it's a nice looking copy as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
the
not,
colors are good.
yeah,
Doesn't look like a four even, but
no. So
yeah,
150 odd dollars sounds pretty good to me.
yeah.
Right, on to number two. And I don't think we've seen this one, but I've not seen this one before. Linda Carter, Student Nurse.
Hmm. So I believe this is the first appearance of Linda Carter. Actually, I have the complete student nurse collection, believe it or not.
How many of them are there?
I think it only ran like a couple issues, but then it went into Night Nurse
Oh, right.
after,
I've heard of the Night Nurse one, yeah.
and then I have all the Night Nurses as well.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
So, first appearance of Linda Carter,
yeah.
Gwen Glitter, Dr. Steve Stewart, Dolly Noonan, and Nurse Barker.
Hmm. I mean, it's not a bad series actually. I've read it. It's kind of reminds me of like ER or like what's it called? What's the one where it's like, it's like romance plus,
Oh, it's like a yeah, it's like a
hospital
soap
drama.
opera. It's like a soap
Yeah,
opera set in a hospital.
yeah. Like the first ones are much more, romancy. The night nurse is much more like like hospital drama, I guess would
Right.
be the way to.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they were written by Stan Lee, if I remember correctly.
Let's have a look. Yeah, Stanley's story.
Yeah.
Al Hartley cover and art. It's a 2-0, mainly because that top corner's gone.
Yeah, that top corner. Yeah, chipped off.
And there's a bit of there's some staining around the staples as well.
Hmm. I forget what grade mine is, but yeah, I think mine's higher grade. But I mean, I think this is a cool book. It's one that's it has a fairly low census, and it is a key because Linda Carter is associated to Doctor Strange. That's the love interest for Doctor Strange.
That's right. That's where I heard her name before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Linda Carter or Peggy Carter that is his love interest,
Well,
actually?
Peggy Carter's
I always
is
get the names mixed up. They're all so similar.
who was the woman who played Wonder Woman?
Oh, that's Linda Carter,
That's
isn't
why
it?
I know the name.
Yeah, yeah. But this is okay. Oh. But
Right.
there's the nurse in the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
That's Linda Carter.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Too many Linda Carters. Right.
Yeah, it's like very confusing.
I think one of them spelt with an Lyn.
Yes. I think I don't know. But I'm going to doubt myself now. Um yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sure somebody will let us know in the chat.
Yeah, people will be like, "You guys are such idiots. What are you doing?"
Anyway, how do we think this did, Alan?
I think this is kind of low, personally,
Well, I
but
think
it's
this
a
is the
record.
only ever copy sold, so it's a record.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
census
what's
on
the
this
census count?
census's count is even lower than Lobo. Number
Hmm.
two, it's 55.
Wow.
I mean, who's going to get? Why did somebody get a 2-0 of this graded?
Because it's still worth it. If you think about it, it's like
That's what
200 some
it is. Yeah,
dollars.
yeah.
I think mine's like a 4.0 or a 5.0. I forget what it is. It's not not super high, but it's not a bad
Have
copy.
a look at the overview.
So like let's see like how this compared to other books with like
Right.
closer grade.
So the most common grade on this book is a 3.0. So it's quite a low graded comic. There's not very many at high grades.
So how much does a 3.0 sell for?
So the
If it's
3.0 fair market value is 375. So I
and
think,
the
yeah,
and the 2.0 fair market value
250. So that sale is
right
about,
on fair market value.
yeah.
Okay. So it's a good sale. It's not a record or anything. Well, it is a record because it's the only sale. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those books that you'd have to it's one that most people wouldn't know about, but it is one that is desirable for the first appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Right. Moving on to book number 3. Ah, I know what this is. This is the first Peacemaker, isn't it?
Yes, Fighting Five. Now, I was kind of curious because there was just a recent announcement that Peacemaker is making another season, but it's without John Cena.
What? How can they do it without John Cena?
I have no idea. It sounds really dumb to me, but it's Peacemaker without the Peacemaker. I don't
What?
know. I don't know. I don't know what
They're
they're
getting
doing. I don't know
another
how.
actor to play him or what?
Maybe I don't know how they're doing it, but I heard that it doesn't have John Cena. That's the rumor. I don't know
I
if it's
thought John
true, but
Cena enjoyed the bit playing Peacemaker.
I thought so too. So I don't know. I'm just going by what I heard as a rumor. So
Okay, so this is Charlton. We've got the Fighting Five on the cover, I think,
mhm.
who are fighting the agents of death, and death stands for dedicated enemies and traitors to humanity.
I
Somebody
love that kind of thing.
somebody worked hard on the acronym there.
It's like, oh, we gotta think of what's gonna.
They've done quite well, actually. Dedicated
Yeah,
traitors of humanity. That's not bad.
yeah. The guy's getting shot in the chest.
Yeah, no, Hank, no. Oh,
Now, Peacemaker's not on the cover of this one,
no, it's
but
not. He's the backup story in Fighting Five, isn't he? And then he takes over.
yeah, yeah. Then he takes over, gets his own title. Um,
Right, so
I,
$408 for 6.0 sounds cheap to me.
it sounds cheap to me too. Actually, I think this one's down. Would be my guess.
Ooh,
Um,
ooh, this is falling,
Bit of
falling.
a rocky one, yeah.
I mean, here's when presumably we got the announcement that we were going to get a Peacemaker series.
And it shot up to
That
700.
was in COVID, wasn't it? Yeah. So it went up to $1,240,
Oof,
and it's now down at 408. So it's lost 60% of its value.
yeah.
It's still falling.
And what was it before COVID?
244.
So
So
it's still double.
yeah,
If you bought, like I bought it early, I bought it before the announcement. So my copy is actually I have a higher grade than this. I think I paid about 200 for my copy too.
you did well then.
Mm,
You did well.
yeah. It's yeah, it's kind of sad to see because actually I enjoyed the series. I thought it was a good series.
I still haven't seen it.
You still haven't seen the Peacemaker series?
It's not on any of the channels I pay for, and I don't want to pay for another channel.
Just do what I do, like watch it on like, some random internet site.
Yeah, I'm frightened of getting bugs.
Well, that's the price you pay for enjoying some Peacemaker. I don't know. So yeah, but yeah, it's a good show. It's reasonably entertaining.
Yeah.
It has its moments, like you can tell like the era that it was made in a little bit, but I think it for Peacemaker, he's always kind of irreverent a bit, right? So
Yeah,
he's not he's sort of anti-woke a bit, which is a bit refreshing, but still it's you can feel the you
the
can feel
wokeness.
the era. But it's yeah, it was entertaining. I thought it was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Um what's the census count on it?
Be quite low, won't it? It's Charlton and not going to be huge. 250.
Yeah.
That's low.
Yeah, so far all the books that we've looked at are pretty low census count, like
Yeah, I mean, this one is
non-Marvel
the
books.
first appearance for major character as well. Well, he was a E-list character, and he's
Yeah.
probably now a B-list character.
I bet there's actually censuses that you can look up where you can see how many books got graded during a certain time period. I bet you this book, prior to the announcement, like was never graded. It's like, it was maybe a very, very low census count. And then you'll see like a massive amount getting graded.
Yeah, there was probably
Just
something like 15 or 20 graded copies before the end.
yeah, and then it just shot up because of the announcement. It's like, oh, that's worth something. Because
Yeah.
Charlton books are criminally undervalued. They're actually pretty cool. There's a lot of really cool books, but not many people appreciate Charlton.
No, I
Um,
mean, there's a lot of rubbish in that. I mean, I am collecting Charlton Bronze Age horror. Uh,
okay,
and for every good cover, there's three pretty awful ones.
okay. The problem with Charlton is that they really didn't do quality that well in terms of the paper and they just very poorly put together books.
They paid, they
Which is
paid
good
the
in terms of like what?
they paid the creators poorly as well. They were the lowest
Uh,
lowest lowest rates in the industry.
okay, so yeah, so they were a cheap product, but that means that it's harder to find them. You know what I mean? Like they're probably smaller print runs,
Yep.
um, and not many survived compared to other books that are better quality.
Yes, it is harder to find Charltons in high grade.
Hmm. So yeah, so though this one didn't perform that well, I bet it's one of those ones that will, even in that little chart that we saw there, you see like little bumps
Yeah,
where it kind of goes back up again.
yeah,
I have a feeling this will do the same. I mean, the overall trajectory will probably be back to some kind of trend line.
yeah,
Probably the value is going to be around that 350, I would say, even
yeah,
like,
yeah.
um, but yeah, it's one that I think is a good book personally, just
Oh
because
yeah.
Peacemaker is now within the zeitgeist of what people,
I did.
characters
I
people
did
know.
during the period where it was, before the show was on, it had been announced. I, of course, like everyone else, was looking at buying one around here.
Yeah,
Luckily, I didn't find one.
yeah, they were hard to find.
uh, and it's even harder in the UK because it's probably never even shipped to the UK.
Yeah, yeah, it could be the case. You know, it was interesting. I did make a mistake with the character. I bought a Peacemaker #1, like which is really I think it's a reprint of the actual first appearance. Um, but it has him on the cover. It's obviously
Yeah,
his
I
title
I
there.
bought that as well.
I bought it at the height. I bought it right at the wrong time. And I bought a low grade because I was like, I'm not going to pay that much, but I got a low grade for pretty
A
high
high
price.
sum. Yeah,
Yeah, so it was kind of sad. But I do like Peacemaker. I think it's
yeah,
fun show.
yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so,
Okay. On to number four. Ah, this is a nice comic. I've got this comic.
yeah, I was actually just talking about this comic recently on my show, where people ask me Q&A things, and I
Yeah.
was showing different action books, and I was showing all the key action books. And this one is one of those under the radar keys where it has so many first appearances.
Does have so many first appearances. I picked this up. I got it in an auction, it was a bundle, and I looked at it and I looked it up and I thought, oh, flipping out, this is a key.
Major key.
I quite liked the cover with all these little flying
Yeah,
Supermen. That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
Superman Emergency Squad.
Hmm. I don't.
But
I
then
thought it was cute with
the backup story is Supergirl's very sad because she hasn't got any friends on
the.
Earth. So somebody sends her back to somewhere, um, and she meets up with all this lot: Brainiac 5, Sunboy, Phantom Girl, Triplicate Girl, Shrinking Violet, and Bouncing Boy. All of them, it's their first appearances.
Yeah, huge. And this one also, by the way, if you look right there, it says Christine Farrell Complete DC Collection.
Oh, yes, it's another of the Christine
It's
Farrell
one of
ones.
the, yeah, and it's a white pager too.
Yeah, they're all
So
spreading the Christine Farrells out over a number of weeks, aren't they?
yeah, I think I mean, it's just such a big collection. It's hard to, you know, it's hard to do it all at once, right?
Yeah.
But, this is a really big book, very under the radar. Most people don't realize it. Um, so it's cool to see it sell.
How many first?
Um,
Brainiac 5's a significant first appearance. Uh,
five first appearances,
yeah,
and
one,
they're all
three, four,
characters that became
we
major
had six
players
first
within
appearances.
Legion, right?
Yeah, six first appearances.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure
So
how.
I actually learned about this book because I was interested. Yeah, I was interested in finding female first appearances, and I was like, I like the character from Invincible called
Yeah,
Triple Kate,
yeah.
and I was like, oh, the DC had a similar character, so I was like, oh, that I gotta get her first appearance. I found this book, um, but that was like years ago, so
Doesn't
I
one
was curious how well this book performed.
one of the
Very,
triplicate,
I don't know, as I said, underrated or key.
yeah, one of the triplicate girls gets killed, doesn't she? And they turn
Kids die.
yeah,
Yeah,
and they turn into a duo. Um, yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
So she becomes
Yeah.
duplicate instead
This
of
should be a
triplicate,
good price.
I guess.
Do you think this Christine Farrell pedigree adds any value to the comic?
I think it would add a little bit, but not much because you're not getting the full pedigree where you get the nice gold label. But it is still cool to have like something from like a known collection.
Because last
What
week,
I found is sometimes
yeah, sorry, because the reason
sorry,
I'm
I was going
asking
to
is
just say we're lagging just so people know when they're watching this, they're going to be like, why do they keep on interrupting each other? It's because we're lagging. Um, so yeah, so just quickly, I was going to say that what you'll find is whenever there's these kind of weird pedigrees, you'll see the lower value books going for more than they should because people just want to get a piece of that history. So some random, like not big title, not a big key book will go for a little bit more than it normally would just because people are buying the pedigree rather than the book. But the higher grade ones don't necessarily get that much of a boost, is what I would say.
okay.
That
So,
makes
what do you
sense.
think on this one, Alan? Do you think this is high, low?
Um, Seems about right, actually. I just remember how much I paid. Mine's a lower grade. I didn't pay. I paid like a couple $100 for mine, and mine's the lower grade.
Okay, so this is a COVID. This is COVID here.
Oh yeah, COVID's going to be higher,
Uh,
but this is not a good price actually. It
no, it's not.
seems cheap.
So that was after COVID. So this has sold for 565 this year.
So this is low price.
This one just sold for 420, so $200 cheaper than it did sell in for in February.
And then what was the peak? 700 or something?
The peak was 741, yes.
Wow. So about half, actually, almost half.
But having said that, versus pre-COVID, it's it's $200 higher.
Okay, so overall it's up,
Yeah.
but it's down off its heights, even off its heights for this year.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
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 surprising.
a little
And
bit disappointing.
You see, one of my viewers last week said, "Oh, did that GI Combat go for that price because it was from the Christine Farrell collection?" And I
Mhm.
said, "No, I don't think so." I said because we've had some Christine Farrell stuff on that's actually sold at lower prices than the
Yeah.
previous sales, and like this one has not even achieved what this achieved in February, even despite the fact it's from that collection.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, as I said, the little books will do better. The bigger books, like this is not a huge book or anything, but it's a bigger book, will perform not much. Like, it won't really make a difference, is my point.
Okay.
I'm actually surprised that this is down that much. I mean, there's no real reason for this to be down. I guess not many people really collect Legion of Superheroes, in
Well, the
general.
census count is only 285.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody collects Action Comics. Well, very few people collect
Yeah,
that.
you were saying that you as a seller
Yeah,
of action were you never
I
sell
can't
them.
shift
There's
them. Can't shift Action. Can't shift Adventure Comics. Can't shift Superman.
yeah. I think that's because right now Superman in general is kind of weak, right?
Yeah,
People aren't really focused on Superman as a hero. He's not one of the big ones anymore. Batman for DC, I would say.
yeah. I think these are good pickups at the moment. Uh,
Yeah, I think if James Gunn can really turn the character around, we're sort of lacking a good Superman movie.
we are, we are
Um,
right. Fifth one on the my list. Oh, there we go. I'm after
that's a
one of
nice one.
these. I know you've got this. Is yours is restored as well, isn't it? Or is it not?
No, no, it's mine's like I think a lower grade raw. I have a raw copy of this.
Well, you've got a full set of Lois Lane, haven't you?
Yep, full
And
set.
I'm trying to put together a set as well. I've got most of the later issues. I've got something like 70% of the run, but all the ones I'm missing are the expensive early ones.
Yeah, the early ones are hard to get.
Yeah,
This is C1 by the way, so amateur slight restoration. But such a cool book. Actually, like I would have loved to pick this one up even though it's restored because I actually like restored for the fact that it's generally cheaper.
yes.
I
It's a
always like to.
nice looking copy.
Yeah, so that's what I like about restored. It's like cheaper and they usually present really, really well. So, um, yeah, that's kind of my thing. Um, yeah, so I mean, this is like such a major issue. Like, it's sort of funny because like one of the things that the Comic Code did was it really got rid of a lot of the Halloween elements. You couldn't have werewolves and vampires and all that kind of stuff. And then they do this with her being a witch. I just think it's interesting that that was acceptable somehow compared to other more Halloweenish characters.
Yeah, it actually
Yeah.
says the Witch of Metropolis on the cover.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, really nice. 7.0 stored. Let's have a look at the pro. How much did this sell for? Huh? Can't see it. Oh, there it is.
800,
$900.
900, 900.
That sounds a lot of money for us restored.
Yeah, it does sound like a lot of money to me too, actually.
Well, it's a record, Alan.
It's a record.
It's the numbers unsold.
So now we got to do all the comparatives.
Wow, I've got to go and work, haven't I? Right,
Yeah, this is where we get you to work.
right. So let's look at the other restoreds first. So
Let's look at a 6.5 since I see there's some data there.
yeah, so there's a 6.5 sold at 590.
So this is high. So generally, oh, and that's a record too. It's like there's not much sales data here. Um, so generally, the higher you get on the restored numbers, the less value you get. So it usually at a 7.0, you're probably getting about 20 to 30% of the blue label,
Well, so the blue label you reckon should be
be around 2000.
okay. Let's have a look at the blue label.
So if it's less than 2,000,
Well, it's
then this is
3,600.
yeah. So okay, so I said 20 to 30%. So this is
Yeah.
more like in that. Okay, so if it's 20%, then still it's like this is a good sale. This is, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, hmm, very interesting. Or is it 30? No, wait. Oh, so yeah, around so it's around
Yeah,
30%,
it's
20 to
between it's in that
30%.
20 to 30% range. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it is right. Okay, I just suck at math. Um,
Well, 10% is 360. Double that gives you
so
720.
yeah, 20% would be
So 900,
4,500.
something like 24, 25%.
Yeah, so yeah, 20% would be 4,500. 30% would be 3,000, right?
Yeah.
So and the fair market value is like what, 3,500?
Yeah. 3,600. Yeah.
Okay, so it's right in there. It's
Yeah.
right in what you would expect it to sell for
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It is. There's your numbers worked. Right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
My math didn't work, but my numbers did. What's the census count on it? Like
Sorry.
what's the census count?
The census count is 328.
Wow, really low census count. I mean, this is a number one issue.
Yeah, it is.
They always like really overprint the number ones. And so, I mean, that shows you how hard it is to get this book.
Yeah, there was one at the London Comic Mart beginning of last year, and I looked at it, and it was the guy had overpriced it.
Hmm.
And I thought, shall I go and barter on it? And I thought, no, I'll find another copy. And I haven't seen another one since.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a hard book to find. I bought mine, like I bought a raw copy from Heritage way back when. Um, yeah, I actually thought, oh, I'll just get number one and I won't bother getting the run. But I sort of fell in love with the run. There was just so many like, oh, that's a really quirky issue. I'll get that one. Okay. And then I just kept on getting more and more issues, and I'm like, I might as well get the run.
They're not
just such a
cheap. They're
fun
not.
run.
They're not cheap, but and it's much more. Always outsells Superman. In any auction that I watch,
Uh-huh.
the lowest lanes sell
Okay.
quickly at a good price.
Mhm.
Superman, Action Comics, Adventure Comics just sit there.
I was shocked actually. I went to a Comic-Con about 2 years ago, and some guy, like, I think of it as like, oh, Lois Lane, nobody cares. It's like it's a girl book. Nobody cares about it. And this guy, he had like sort of like, it wasn't like the super early issues, it was sort of like the mid issues, I guess. And he had like crazy prices, like 50 to $100 each. I'm like, it's like bit much. I think people, but I saw people buying them.
Yeah, yeah.
It was very interesting.
And
So
I can always sell them. So because I buy in lots, I've had a lot of duplicate Loises. I've been
mhm.
gradually upgrading my copies. So I've got the ones I've got now are pretty good, pretty decent grades. I can always sell them. Whereas
Yeah.
I can't sell Superman for love of money. You can't sell Jimmy Olsen, but you can sell Lois Lanes.
I was actually thinking about getting some Jimmy Olsens because there's some pretty cool Jimmy Olsen ones too.
There are one or
They're
two.
quirky. They're
Yeah, there's some
quirky. I
quirky
mean,
ones. Yeah,
yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know. Lois Lane, awesome.
I think
So
there's one where he marries a gorilla, isn't there?
yeah, yeah, of course. Like, it's DC we're talking about. Everybody marries a gorilla in DC. If you don't have a gorilla, what's wrong with you? Um, so yeah. So I think it was like one of those jokes within the DC like office that they had to have gorillas or something.
Well, it was who was it? Was it Carmen? I think it was Carmen Infantino who
Hmm.
said, "If you don't know what to put on the cover to make it sell, put a gorilla on."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's a whole load of covers with
With
gorillas.
gorillas. It's like, what are they doing? But but I think it was an internal joke. I'm positive that they were joking with it because they went really gorilla crazy for a while. I think one of the editors got upset with them for doing too many gorillas after
Too
a while.
many gorillas.
Yeah, but oh well. Um,
Right.
So
So we've done switcheroos this week. So Alan will be doing the big books on his channel. So you need to fly off to Alan's channel and watch him. I bet you there's an amazing Spider-Man in there. So Alan will
I
have
usually dump those onto you, but I guess this time I can't.
so I have managed to duck and avoid the arachnid.
Hmm.
So yeah, over to Alan's channel. That's it from me this week, and that's it from Alan.